All right, friends, in this video, I'm going to show you how it would be unreasonable for you not to land a remote setting or closing role if you want one. This is what I tell people in my community, and this is how we basically, obviously can't guarantee anything, but make it, again, unreasonable for them not to land anything. I'm going to show you 4 examples, then I'm going to show you 3 reasons or 3 things that you kind of need to look out for that might make this harder for you. And we're just going to flow, man. I don't have a script. We're just going to flow. First things first, I need to get rid of this. This is some valuable stuff. If you want to learn what I was talking about in terms of the 4 criteria in which you're graded upon and the 3 buckets that you will fall into when coming into this industry, click the link on the video that's recommended after this one. But not yet. Watch this video first. Also, I'm working with a little lighting situation. I'm trying to avoid, you see, that light. So hopefully you guys can see all right. I said we were going to discuss 4 scenarios. We're actually going to discuss 2. One is going to be the minimum viable, unreasonable situation. And the other is going to be the maximum, in my opinion. This is probably not all going to fit on here. If I'm being honest, this is not all going to fit on here. We're restarting. All right, you guys can see that, right? This is the minimum viable scenario. So when people are coming into my community, everyone has a different background. Some have sales experience, a lot, a little bit, some have none. And this is basically the system that we use to manage expectations and get them close to the outcome that they're coming for. The reason why this works is because there's only so many variables. It's not rocket science. It is getting a sales job. You learn the skill of sales, and then you learn that to get a job. It's not like an agency where you need to do lead generation, web design, fulfillment, sales, marketing, this, and that. So we tell people, and I'm going to put this down here, there are 3 things that could add variables to this. That's a 1, 2, 3. If you can go for a week or a week and a half, in this case, it's a week, 7 days, and apply to 3 to 5 jobs per day. In this case, 3 jobs per day. Didn't have space to show you all the examples. Then you're probably going to get the result that you came for. And here's why. Because the first thing that we break down for people is this roadmap. I don't know if you can see that. Roadmap is basically, we go through their unique situation. We have them fill out a form. We get to learn everything about them, where they want to be, what they've done. And then we point them in a direction that makes the most sense for them. So that might be a setting role, it might be a DM setting role, it might be a part-time setting role, it might be full-time phone setting, it might be closing, it might be a little bit of both. It might be a 20K per month closing role, but we want to make sure that people come in and they're not delusional. So this strategy is based upon the understanding that they've gone through this roadmap with us. We've pointed them in a very particular direction that would be unlikely for them not to be able to secure job-wise, and they take action. So if they do 3 applications a day for 7 days, if you're being conservative in terms of what we recommend here, let's just say appointment setting role, then we would love to see 1 interview for every 5 applications. And there's another variable here, adding time. This is also assuming you are applying to jobs that are fresh, brand new, posted now, hiring now, low competition. Assuming you're fast, assuming you're not delusional in what you can accept, you do this. We like to see 1 interview for every 5 applications, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is hopefully at minimum, right? 5, interview, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 10, interview 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, interview 3, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, interview 4, 21. So now you got 4 interviews. You could have 6 interviews. Who knows? If you are being conservative, we like to see 1 to 5 on the interviews. If you're swinging for the fences, you're playing a little bit aggressive because based on the discussion, it makes sense for you to play a little bit aggressive. We like to see like 1 to 10. Anything beyond 1 interview for every 10 applications, you're truly just a little bit delusional, and you need to figure out if you want to spend your time being delusional. Now, you made it unreasonable based on the applications to not get interviews. And now, what are the numbers for interviews? Also, I messed up. I forgot to include this 3rd thing, swinging. When I say swinging, I mean swinging for the fences. So it is assumed if you're fast, you're not delusional, and you're applying conservatively based on what you can realistically compete for. Again, kind of going in this direction, or 1 in 10 at a maximum, then these numbers make sense. Now, we like to see, and again, this is me running the numbers, for it to be unreasonable for you not to land something. We like to see for every third interview an offer extended at minimum. If you're going beyond 3 interviews and you're not landing an offer, then we need to refine the process. Maybe you second interviews and we need to dial that in. Maybe you're swinging for the fences too hard. We need to be more conservative. So that being said, 1, 2, 3, 1 offer. Look guys, this is not the case for everybody. Again, this is the case for the average person. I would say if you can do 21 applications, I know 4 interviews, you're probably going to get 1 offer, assuming timing, you're not being too aggressive, you're not swinging for the fences. But then there comes in another variable, number 3 or 4 in this case. And it would be this, due diligence. Because not every offer is good, not every offer is validated. How do you do due diligence? Well, if you're in our community, you just bring it to us. Maybe you use our OTE calculator. Maybe you join a live call. Maybe you post in the group. Maybe you see if someone else already works there that you can get feedback from. But here's how I would do due diligence if I were you. I have a lot of videos on this, so I'm not gonna make this a whole thing. To keep it super, super simple, revenue. Get their revenue over a month, the quarter, the year, whatever you can. The more the better. 2, number of reps, number of sales reps. Those 2 data points are, let's call them independent variables. Those are things that cannot be, I mean, they can be lied about, but like revenue is revenue, reps is reps. Can't really mess that up unless they're just lying. And then we get into like the independent or the dependent variables, which is, okay, well, now that I know these 2 numbers, let me kind of cross-check, right? We're going to go comp. What is the comp plan? How are they paid? Knowing this and the number of reps, and also you might want to find out here, setter versus closer, because they're going to be paid differently. Reverse engineer revenue by number of the reps by the comp. Also, you can also come down here and get earnings, and my handwriting's getting terrible. If you can get these 4 things, revenue, number of reps, the comp plan, and the earnings, you can actually run these 2, reverse engineer, see if they make sense, see if they add up to the same numbers. If they don't, they probably won't add up perfectly, but especially if they have like bonus structures, but it'll give you an idea. So that's the number side of the due diligence. I'm going to just use this space that I have. Let's talk about the social / public side. So we're going to go, maybe we start with their lander. So we go to their landing page, we just scrape it, see how it looks. Testimonials, are they good? Are they legit? How long has the company been in business? What are they offering? Is it crazy? Does this look professional? Does this look in line with a company that makes X amount of money? Then we could go to the founder and do deeper research there. Go to his social or his or her socials. Look him up on Google. Look up name of the company and the founder's name. There's this cool thing that, shout out to Brandon Harris. If you guys have the latest Google Chrome update, there's a Gemini feature where you can like search the page, and if you go and you can like select tabs for it to like read and interpret. If you open up their lander, the founder's socials, anything you find online, open it up, tell Gemini to search it and just be like, give me an FBI level deep dive review of this business, this person. Dude, it's freaky, okay? I'll save that for another video. Shout out Brandon, but it can save you a lot on the social side. Another thing I like to see on here, trust pilot / well, that looks bad. Edit. So if this checks out, then we want to look at the founder, checks out. Then we want to look at like third party, Trustpilot, Reddit. You could also, I mean, you'll find this on Google. These things index really high on Google. And so if there's negative stuff out there, you will find it very easily. Reddit is usually like a top 3, I guess, tool that people use for evaluations on stuff like this. So there's all that. Now, I'm not going to erase all this, but this is the minimum scenario. 21 applications, 4 interviews, 1 offer. You could do 7 applications and get 2 offers, okay? I'm not saying that's not possible. However, if you know that you're swinging for the fences and you want it to be extremely unreasonable, that you don't get what you're hoping to get, you can either bump this up to a week and a half, make it like 12 days, and then imagine how the numbers progress, or you could send 5 applications per day. What I don't recommend doing is batching up and just doing like 20 on one day and then not doing any for like 2 weeks. I don't recommend that. Here's how the applications go though. By the time you're applying, let's say on day 4, these applications, 1, 2, and 3, are just starting to move to the next stage. And what do I mean by the next stage? I don't have any more room to write. When I push a job out, I'm going to let it float out there for like 2 or 3 days before I really start looking at candidates, because I don't want to go through that first initial process over and over and over. I'm going to let all the applicants come in. I'm going to do this one time. I'm going to move to the next step. So for the first 1, 2, or 3 days, or 2 or 3, honestly, like it would be unreasonable for something to happen. It would be unreasonable for you to have that offer. And that's why, you know, what you can see here is the numbers and how it breaks down to one offer. But what you don't see is this one offer is probably coming at like day 12. And that's why you need to like focus on the compounded efforts of this, because let's say it's day 3 before they start lining up interviews. They book your interview on day 5, and then they're taking interviews until day 6. And then day 7, they get back to you and they're like, you're the one. And that was something you applied to all the way over here. And that could be the one offer that you get. And so just know that, you know, day 6, day 7, it would be unrealistic for you to get an offer until like almost the end of next week. That's why we need to focus on 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day. You're going to get to a point like my boy Gene here, pop it up, where you just have way more interviews than you know what to do with. And you know how you get a lot of offers? A lot of interviews. You guys, the only real variables in here, actually, there's another one in here. It's access to jobs. It's access to this many jobs, because if you're in Facebook groups, if you're sending cold Instagram DMs, you're not getting access to quality gigs, at least this many of them. That's what we do in our community. In this high ticket, remote setting or closing, inbound sales space, the hard part is not selling. It is getting access to these jobs because everybody wants them, because they're inbound and they're sexy and they're easy. Not really. That's the hard part, and that's what we focus on. So if you want access to however many jobs you can need, and you want to be able to apply fast, you want to be first, you want to know if you're being delusional or not, you want to know if you're being conservative, if this makes sense, if it's sustainable, or if you are going to take the aggressive approach and swing for the fences, and you want help doing due diligence, including the actual numbers side of things, using calculators, tools, my brain, all that, and the social side, plus community, plus being able to ask people who maybe have interviewed with this team, maybe have been on this offer, know the founder, know someone that's been there. Time is money. Okay, look, if you're getting into this industry because you want to make 5K, 10K, 15K per month, you're not making that, you're actually losing that, especially if you're making a lot of money in sales. This is your insurance policy. Doing due diligence is going to save you more money than it's going to cost you. And that's why I think you should join our community if you are in the market for this stuff. We got 13 days left in the year. For 13 days, you can get into this as a tax write-off if you're already a 1099 rep, or if you're already in the industry. In this space, man, your insurance policy is who you know. So if you can go 2 birds with 1 stone, get connected to other people doing this, and get access to all these jobs, and get access to me multiple times a week, one-on-one in the DMs, pretty damn good deal, as long as you're serious. So anyways, that's this video, you guys. Thank you for watching. That's all I got. Subscribe, like, comment, ask questions down below, and good luck out there. Peace.